Hey YouTube, it's your lucky day. I am stuck in camp because there are some bears in the area and I want to make sure they don't come and mess up my camp, and I have a camp to go back to. I've been hunting out here for about a week now, and I bought one of these Canadian military 10-man Arctic tents from Hero Outdoors, and there wasn't a lot of information on YouTube about these things. And there's one other review, and the guy that did the review kind of said the same thing. He said, you know, you can't really check it out set up in the store or anything, and I think he missed a bunch of stuff, so I'm going to give you guys a little bit more information. First off, he was using a 4-foot paddle to hold up that door opening. That door opening is at least 5 feet tall when set up with the post and a little bit of rope. One thing to know about this tent is that they do come refurbished. One of the guys' comments was that they're quite expensive, but no, they're not. $399 for this tent body is a screaming deal. I have a one-man MSR Hubba tent for backpacking that weighs a couple of pounds that was pretty much the same price, and you could set it up on my cot. So you get a lot of bang for your buck for your $400 on this thing. One thing to note is that you only get the tent body. It came from Hero Outdoors. I'm not sure if I mentioned that, but that's where it came from. You need a lot of guy lines. Paracord works really well. I bought 100 feet of it. It wasn't enough. You need probably be safe with 200-foot rolls. As you can see, that's not paracord. So if you go walk around, you say it counts tent body only. I ordered these stakes as well. You get 25 of them for, I don't know, I think it was 20, 30 bucks, something like that. You don't need 25, but it never hurts to have spares. I also bought the wood stove, the military one. Has a 4-inch stovepipe. Comes with 5 sections of pipe, which was a nice surprise. It does not come with a spark arrestor. I will be making one for it because I'll show you in a minute that it's obviously needed. The stove jack, not in great shape, but perfectly functional. One of the guys' comments was that this material may be asbestos. I don't think it is. I think this is a fire retardant fiberglass type kind of material. Even if it was asbestos, it's not a big concern because I don't plan on cutting it up or grinding it or turning it into dust in any way, which is when asbestos is really dangerous. You'll notice that I've got my stovepipe supported with a bunch of metal wire. That's actually mechanics wire. Just happen to have a roll of it in my toolbox that I always bring with me when camping. So I just use the loops on the tent to, you know, support it in several different directions so that so it can't blow over on top of the tent in a windstorm in the middle of the night when I'm tucked away in my bed. Some of the loops weren't in great shape. Like this one here, it was torn. So luckily there was enough room in behind it and in behind the stitching that I could get my paracord through there and string that tie down point out anyhow. It doesn't come with a zipper, but these little beaners work awesome. You know, plus they also hold your door open, which is great. It's not buggy, so it doesn't need to be sealed up like a, you know, tight little drum. I don't plan on using it in the buggy season at all. It's going to be for when it's cool out hunting trips like this one. I'll show you the inside. So that's one side of the tent. As you can see, the cot fits nicely, and then a kitchen table for the next side. You get another cot there. You get another one there, and you had another one there right beside the stove. So you could effectively have 4 guys in this thing, no problem, and comfortable. You wouldn't. It wouldn't be cramped at all. And 4 guys with comfortable sleeping arrangements too, not just a bag on the floor, an actual cot. Now the stove. This stove is really impressive. I really like the fact that it's got that ash box on the bottom. Easy to control your temperature just by swinging this little intake door open and closed down there. It's hot, not burn the ground hot, but make you wish you hadn't touched it hot. The opening on top here is 9 inches in diameter, and you can fit a fairly good sized chunk of wood in there. In fact, I'll demonstrate that right now because it looks like I could use another piece. If I can slip a glove on one-handed. That's a shed I found the other day. Just a little inspiration for my elk hunting trip. Like I say, not out hunting today because there's bears close by and I want to make sure that I have a camp to sleep in tonight. So that's a pretty decent chunk of lumber. 14 inches long is what I cut them at. The diameter of the stove is about 16 inches, and that 14-inch measurement is really just by eye. I've been in the trade so long that they're all within half an inch, but you get the idea. So shuffle a little chunk around here. As you can see, most of your little hot tent stoves would not take a piece of wood that big that easily. Probably have to split it up into smaller chunks and be a pain in the butt. So I really like that, and it kicks out a ton of heat. Now the stove did come with a damper for the flue. Unfortunately, the flue does not have the hole to install the damper, so on my next trip out, or before my next trip out, I'll definitely get that installed, and that should increase the amount of burn time I get out of this stove. That being said, I can get pretty close to 4 hours pretty easily with decent wood. That's fir and larch there, and as you can see, they're all fairly big chunks, so you stuff that box right full and you'll get 4 hours pretty easy. With that damper, I think we'll probably get more like 6 to maybe even 8 hours. Like it could even possibly burn it right through the night without having to get up and stoke the stove. That's pretty much it. One other thing, I did buy this telescoping pole with the tent because I thought, you know, it'd be a pain in the butt to go out and get a chunk of lumber every time you want to stand up your tent. You know, I do have a chainsaw. It works really well. One thing to note, this pole that they're selling on Hero Outdoors, the telescoping pole, is for the American Arctic tent, and the hole in the top of the Canadian tent is bigger than the top of that pole. So what I did is, because I have a bunch of tools and stuff kicking around that I don't really even use that much, is I've got this big 3/4 inch drive socket that's about the same diameter as the pocket on the top of the tent, and it has a nice little 3/4 inch hole through the middle for the point of my pole to go through. And now I've dispersed that tension on the canvas to quite a bit larger surface area. Without that, this pole would just go right through that hole. So if you buy the pole with it, keep in mind you're going to have to come up with a way of making sure that it's not going to go through the top of your tent. But that's about it. I really like it. I think it's an awesome deal. $400 for the stove was a pretty darn good deal. If you buy the stove and it's marked new, I highly recommend putting it all together in the backyard and doing the first burn outside of the tent, because it does come covered in a oily substance to keep it from melting or keep it from rusting while it's in storage. It may say brand new, but as you can see, this one was made in 1991. Yeah, burn it outside. It makes a lot of smoke. It smokes for probably 2-3 hours before it really kind of settles in. And once that's all done, you're good. Oh, a spark arrestor. I would get a spark arrestor. I'll show you why. See all these little holes here? Not all of them are from sparks, but there definitely some of them are. These were here when I got the tent. The tents do obviously, you know, have some patches. They're refurbished, but there are definitely some holes that are from sparks. So a spark arrestor would be a good idea. Other than that, any questions, let me know. If you like the video, click like. Thanks and have a great day, guys.